Good evening, everybody. Thank you for staying up late with me to go over this trailer. I was going through it. Thank you, 80s model. I was going through it, and there's actually quite a lot for us to discuss. So I'm feeling a little better about the trailer. And I think also you have to remember that I'm not familiar with the original Broadway show, so I can't fill in the blanks as well as some of the rest of you. But I think I have some interesting observations to share with you. Hey, 80s model, thank you very much. Everybody, hey, thank you. And by the way, I made this stream chat open to subscribers because it's such a big trailer and it's so late. And so if you're joining, I think you should deserve to be in the chat. So all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and you'll be let in immediately. Thank you, Bubbles. Thank you for gifting memberships. Those, of course, are good for an entire month. So people will be able to join the chat and other live streams. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, so there are a couple of questions I know you guys wanted to go over first. By the way, there'll be a Q&A, a brief Q&A at the end because this is a live trailer breakdown. But we have a lot to go over. Okay, so thank you, Danny. So for some of the questions that I think I want to answer right off the top. So you might have noticed that there's very few shots of them together in this trailer. The trailer still doesn't even show their faces, although at this point, they're pretty freaking iconic. Thanks, Rogue Frogger. Thanks, Kevin. Let me make sure I can cook, so I can't answer too many of your comments till we get to the Q&A at the end. But, clearly, these women, these friends are separated. And so that's, thank you, Garnet Fire. And so I think that, you really see that even visually represented in the trailer. Very few shots of them together, but this one's very powerful. This is a very powerful shot of them holding hands. Then some of you already have been asking me what my thoughts are about the Oscar situation. Hard to tell when we've only seen a trailer, but I think a lot of people are hoping, the first one certainly got a lot of nominations, although it mostly got craft wins. But, this is the second and last of the two films, so people are sort of hoping for a Lord of the Rings type situation, where for the final Lord of the Rings, the Academy took that trilogy seriously. I think movies are in a little bit of a different space right now, and we haven't seen what the competition is. I'm not sure if Wicked will get its flowers, even with its second installment. However, I do agree with many of you that while Ariana Grande will probably be nominated, I think that Cynthia Erivo is more likely to be the one who gets the win. It would be nice to see Jon M Chu finally get a nomination. He won the Critics' Choice Award. I'm Critics' Choice for Best Director last year, but he wasn't even able to get an Oscar nomination. Also, they wrote 2 original songs for this movie, one for Elphaba, one for Glinda. And I think that, that's pretty much a lock that it will win Best Song. So we'll see what happens. Best Picture, Mr. Magic. I don't know about that. That's right, Alien Moose. That's funny. Son of a witch. Okay. Then, of course, there's the original Broadway musical. As I said, I'm not particularly familiar or not at all familiar with the Broadway musical, so I don't know the songs that are in store for us. I do know, based on my research that I have done, that the second half of the musical is not as well received as the first half. So it'll be curious to see how it's received as a film. They often, the way things are received in their original source material carries over to how they're received when they're adapted. The same thing happened for the Marvel Now comics and also for The Last of Us Part 2. However, unlike those entries, Wicked has intentionally made changes. And Wicked has, again, as I said, added those 2 new songs. And I think they've really added a substantial more depth to the film, as we even saw from the first film with the script and Jon Chu's directing. So I think that, for instance, there's more Dorothy already. You guys are saying there's more Dorothy already in the trailers than there is in the Broadway show. So I think that makes a very big difference. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how everybody reacts to it. All right, so I got a lot of stuff for us to go over. I got 55 trailer stills that I pulled. Where are they? Here we go. 55 trailer stills. So we're really going to have a good time. And a lot of interesting references as well. So I like that Jon M Chu, he admitted in the first film, has given Elphaba the superhero treatment. And she certainly has superpowers. You're in Kuwait, well, Nat. That's fantastic. And some of you have pointed out, like Mason said, the color grading. There were lots of criticisms about the color grading for the first film. And, there's not much they can do from film to film because they filmed them back to back. However, they could do a lot with post. And clearly, good for them, Jon Chu and his team have heard your complaints and they seem to have fixed the color grading. Hi, Dominici in Venezuela. As I said last year, it's wonderful to see women and the LGBTQ community take back the term witch. From Wanda and Agatha to Wicked. I think that was really very special last year. So she broke the glass, just like she did in their dorm room, but that time she was kind of slamming the door and stuff. But it means that Glinda knows she's there. So we have this beautiful balcony. Glinda has been given a penthouse apartment in the Emerald City, although I'm sure so that the wizard can keep an eye on her. And I thought this was at first a lounge chair, but this is actually her bubble chariot that she has parked on the balcony. I love it. She lives there. She takes off from there. So it's absolutely beautiful. And I think it's interesting that they gave this like a 1940s aesthetic because, even though The Wizard of Oz isn't from the 1940s, the original film was made in 1939. And it really had that Art Deco 1940s aesthetic. And I think that that's one of the reasons they've used that style for the films. And I love it. I think it's really phenomenal. I also want to point out, though, that I think this is her wedding dress. At first, I thought this was a very fancy nightgown. But it seems that this is her wedding gown. So I think we're starting to understand why Glinda gets pretty freaking upset, because it doesn't seem that the wedding goes through. So here she is on the eve of her wedding. That is a very nice gown. And she hears something outside. Ho, 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 ho. Stage is set. And by the way, I know sometimes people don't appreciate my attention to hair and fashion. I think this is that movie. So let's just talk about how amazing Ariana Grande looks. The detail work on the costumes is fantastic. The rhinestone work on the top of this bodice work is just so beautiful. And I think Ariana Grande is giving Nicole Kidman some competition for the wigs. That looks incredible. It looks so good. The makeup, the earrings, she looks fantastic. I want to go to the Wizard of Oz salon as well. But again, as I said, I think that is her wedding gown. And so this is quite the evening. Maybe it's after her wedding fell apart. Maybe makes more sense because it's nighttime. So, but this is quite the time to be talking to Glinda. Now this I'm particularly proud of. So of course, Elphaba is there. And the monkeys don't work for her just yet. The flying monkey guard, Glinda says, you better be careful because the monkeys are gonna, the monkey guards are gonna spot you. But as I just said, Jon M Chu said it very specifically. That's right, Benjamin, you beat me to it. I did too much setup. Yes, it's the Superman terrace sequence. Isn't that a great nod? Because Jon M Chu has given Elphaba the superhero treatment. And I think there is a romantic element. I think there's will they, won't they? I think that Jon M Chu has allowed you to see it or not see it. I think he's put it there if you want it to be there. I think it's like, personally, my take on it is like it's so many things in life, and that it's complex and it's not black and white. I think that's what it is. I think that their friendship is somewhere in between platonic and romantic, and I think that's how they're playing it. They've spoken on that, and I think that it's very much the way that it's portrayed in the film. And I think I wouldn't qualify it as queer baiting because, as I said, I think it speaks to how there are a lot of, dynamics that people have in real life. So I think this is the Superman sequence, and I think that's fantastic. And I like that they're doing it this way in a fantasy setting with two women, with both friends and the romantic element. And, I think it just makes it, there's so much happening in this sequence. You can see why they're both an emotional mess. So I just think that's really clever. By the way, I want to point out that James Gunn is doing a very clever take on this as well. This was a flirty interview, but he has an interview in his movie after they've been dating for a while, and it does not go the same way, which I think is very funny. Wicked has been trending. Jacob Knight, Wicked was trending number 2 or 3 earlier when I checked, so I'm glad that it's getting the attention it deserves. All right, so the next, I love the Universal Pictures logo from the 1940s, but with the Wicked coloring. Although, it is pretty funny that they have to write a Comcast company at the bottom. That is very modern. But I think I think it's a great idea. I think that just goes to show that Jon Chu, his attention to detail serves him well. I just really love that he's making that effort, and I think it does make a difference. Then, look at the difference in their abodes, right? I mean, also, I want to point out that when they were living in their dorm room, Glinda was the messy one, and Elphaba was the one who wanted everything to be very neat and tidy. So it just goes to show how people change and switch places kind of as they get older, and that as they change as people. Also, I have to say, speaking of comic books, I think that Elphaba is getting a little bit of a Poison Ivy treatment. She's green like the earth, like Poison Ivy, and you can see a very strong connection to Oz. Is she part of Oz? I think you have to wonder, because isn't that what the mythology says with the Grimmery and all that? But I just think that's very, very interesting. So, and she has a broom made of branches. I mean, it's just really excellent. So, yes, she's like the living embodiment of Oz. I like that too, Wanda's attorney. I think it's really neat. So she's back home, and she's like, and she has reason to be upset, because the propaganda machine just won't stop. It's like the Wizard of Oz social media, and they're printing out pamphlets left and right, and she's obviously collecting them. And I think they both bother her, and also she's using them to work to her advantage. She's like, you want me to be a villain? I'll be a villain. So I love it. I love it. And that illustration is both insulting, but also cozy and vintage. So they've done a very nice job with the artwork here. So here she is, using her magic as we speak. If you pay close attention, and if Universal would let me show things moving, I can't. I have to do things in stills for Universal trailers. You can see that these things are all floating as she uses the Grimmery. This jar is floating. This one's floating. I don't know what kind of magic she's doing. Is she just doing busy work, or is she doing something more grand? I think magic clearly has become a big part of her life, but she is working. She's getting pretty good with that Grimmery, and she and the Grimmery seem to be syncing up nicely. So she's making that book sing, baby. Look at the paper artwork, right? I mean, it's really beautiful. So I love it. So she's hard at work here and getting very, very skilled with her magic. This is, of course, what we saw from the first movie. This seems to be when they're just starting to unfurl it. That Munchkin should be ashamed. A fellow woman of color, and putting that up there like that, that's just very sad and speaks to the power of propaganda that can even make people hate themselves. I think that's really sad. So anyway, then, I gotta get to my next group of photos. I remember I learned from my past mistakes that I can only load so many stills in a grouping. So I wanted to make sure I didn't have any problems this time. All right, so the next one. So here's Glinda. I hope she's happy, as they said in the song. As the song goes, I hope you're happy. And I don't know if she's that happy, but she certainly looks amazing. So she's like, at least I look good, right? She's like, I might not feel good, but at least I look good. And that is quite the amazing outfit. She looks phenomenal. I do love that crown. It even has bubbles in it. I think that's just spectacular. So yes, she's like, I've gotten the life I wanted, but is it really the life that I wanted now that I'm living it? She's certainly emotionally conflicted. So then there's Madame Morrible, who has really literally let her hair down and doesn't have to pretend to be a good guy anymore. although I'm sure she thinks she's a good guy. And she's in her own study. And of course, remember, she controls the weather. And I don't want to give too much away for those of you who aren't familiar with what happens. I mean, I looked it up. I really wanted to know. I couldn't wait. But I would like to, I don't know all the details though, because I haven't actually seen the second half of the show. But I would like to point out to you, she's making a tornado. Pretty interesting. There it is. She's building a pretty fierce tornado. I wonder what she's going to do with that. Okay. All right. I think you can kind of see where that's kind of going to go to a degree. All right. Then next, poor Glinda. Talk about not being aware of what's going on. So as you can see, the next photo is of her Winky Prince, Fiyero, but she's totally believing this relationship. Fiyero, not so much. You know, I'm surprised she can't read Fiyero better because he is really not selling it. But his costume sure is. I mean, I can't believe Twinkie Prince, sorry. To some, he's the Winky Prince. All right, the Twinkie Prince. I'm sorry. All right, so anyway. But I must say that talk about pomp and circumstance, I don't really think that I would take, he doesn't look like a very serious military figure to me, but I think it's very much mostly for show, even though he is taking it very seriously. So he and his troops apparently have a musical number. I can't wait to see it. And so they're obviously the it couple of Oz, but I don't think he's certainly not enjoying it. All right, then next, here he is. Now I like this very much. So we go from the couple that everybody wants to be to the couple that truly is, he and Elphaba. And here he is with his troops, but once again, they meet in the woods, which is a very different way than they were in the woods in the first movie. There she is literally hiding amongst the trees, you know, with her broom made of trees. I think it's really neat. But it's very sad also to see the way that they once were. They had two. They met in the woods, and then later they really bonded there as well when they rescued that cowardly lion, who's going to be all grown up here. But yeah, I think that's a great juxtaposition as to how their lives have changed. She looks great there. She looks pretty upset. He did not do his chores. I mean, I think everybody can notice that angry face on their partner being like, I can't stay away from you, but I'm pretty freaking upset. All right. Now, I love this. Now, this is the wizard, obviously, and he's still up to his shenanigans. This is a zoetrope. A zoetrope was the first moving picture, which looks like magic, of course, to the people of Oz, but is a trick that he obviously took with him from the real, from our world. So that's really neat. But obviously he's quite haunted. You can see, he's not sleeping. The wizard isn't sleeping. But I just wanted to remind you, if you're not familiar with the zoetrope, that's right, it is very much like a tornado as well, Drew. That's a great catch. But of course, and I really like this because of the casting with Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, the very first image in a zoetrope was not only a man on a horse, but it was a black man on a horse, a black jockey. And this, of course, was recently outlined in the film Nope from Jordan Peele. So the very first man in a moving image was a black man. And I think that's something that Hollywood should be, more reverential to. So that was really an amazing, and I'll always remember that. They gave us a great t-shirt with that very image of the jockey on it, and I still wear it all the time because I just, I think it's important. Just, by the way, the first person killed in the American Revolutionary War was a black man. So, this is the thing that people, you need to remember, that history is far more diverse than many would try to have you believe. So I think that's phenomenal. Okay. So I like that a lot. I love that stuff. I'm a big history fan. All right. Then this to me actually was the most powerful image in the movie. And in the trailer. And this is the one that almost made me cry. I saw that some of you said that the trailer almost made you cry, or it did make you cry. This is the one that got to me. Because the way she so gently touched these yellow bricks, which she was there when she helped to come up with this idea, and it was supposed to be something that tied everyone together, and she was not a part of it anymore. And I just, but she still wants to be. Hey, CJ, I just thought that was, to me, this was I guess because also it was unexpected. I was like, she's just touching bricks and yet sadness. So I really thought that was just beautiful. And by the way, kudos to Cynthia Erivo for getting that emotion across just with her hand. So that's really neat. We have some other very cool shots at the Yellow Brick Road coming up. And then there's this shot. We're going to go to the next group of trailer shots in just a moment. But I really love this look on Glinda's face. Glinda has had enough. Like, you can just see, she's just like, what now? What now? What new horror is this? I really wish this would end. And I also want to point out to you that they've done quite the job of aging up their cast. And I really want to point out, because a lot of people don't highlight these things, when you're doing your own fashion choices, I'm sorry to say that Wicked Part 1 and 2 are a great guide as to how to age yourself down and age yourself up. You know, take a look at the choices that have been made for Glinda in Part 1 versus the choices for Glinda in Part 2. And they were shot back to back. Ariana Grande is the exact same age, and yet they make her look like a college student versus a fully grown woman. And I think that's fascinating. So kudos to the makeup, hair, and costume department. But, I just think you can find some tips here for yourself. Some don'ts, so I'm sorry to say, Glinda. Glinda, your hair's a little bit too tight, I think the earrings are a little too small. It's an older look, but I think it's it's intentional. So then the next group, all right, this is what she's looking at. In the sky, Elphaba is doing her own social media. So, by the way, many people pointed out that this is a call out to the original movie with the sky writing when she called for them to surrender Dorothy to her. So I think I like it a little bit better in a cloud. I like that the words are shining through the cloud instead of vice versa. I like that quite a bit. But I'll tell you something else that I like about this very much so. You'll note that she said, our wizard lies. That's so important. Oh, that's funny about Blue Sky, Andrew. I think that's so important because she's not saying your wizard is lying. She's saying, hey, you might have cast me out, but I'm one of you. I made the same mistake as you. I'm not judging you or telling you that you were wrong. I'm saying I figured something out that we all should figure out. So come and join me. So very clever, very good talking points there. She didn't forget the Y mystic. Yeah, maybe the Y disappeared. No, I think it's very clever. I like it. That's right, Jappy Joseph. What a name. She can play the propaganda game as well. All right, so the next photo, look at this. Where is she landing? She's landing on the yellow brick road as it's being built. That is an absolutely incredible shot. She's like, oh, you got yourself a little road here? I'm going to walk on it before anybody else. I just think that's fantastic. I don't know what's going on with her cape. I like it when it's a little bit longer. I forgot to talk about that in the poster. The poster, it almost looks like a fish, like a mermaid tail. I like it better in the first movie when it felt more like organza. This is like, looks like a potato sack that's been ripped up. I'm like, we got to go to the cape store, Elphaba. That's why you have friends like Glinda. Friends tell friends they need to buy a new cape. So I just think this is a very cool shot. I think that it also reminded me a little bit of Maleficent, the way they redid Maleficent. And Maleficent was someone who protected the land. And I think clearly, as they build the road, not so great for the land of Oz. I mean, they seem to be doing some real damage. It looks like they cut down trees a little bit, right? Like when they're doing deforestation. That's kind of what it looks like. And I think she's probably not happy about that either. But look at this shot. There she has landed. And behind her, let me get my arrow. Behind her is Oz. Oh, it's so great. I love that. So she lands. I just think that's phenomenal. I figured out what I don't like about, that's right, lots of fire. She creates fire. Maybe she created the fire. Oh, thank you, that's right. Burn, baby, burn. Or maybe they burned it when they were trying to create the road. She's not happy. I like the look on her face. I still love the hat. But I do feel that in the first movie, they did a really good job with Cynthia Erivo's neck. And Cynthia Erivo, by the way, has a stunning figure. So you got to work really hard to make her look a little off. So I'm surprised, considering how good the costume designer is here, that, they didn't do a little bit of a better job. I think this area is what I feel is a little bit off. I think instead of the collar that she's had in the first movies, like kind of building her up, I think these longer pieces make her, as some of you said, make her look broader. So I wish this costume looked a little bit different. Paul Tazewell, thank you, Mr. Magic. He's a brilliant man, and he just won the Oscar as he deserved to. But yeah, I think that, this is the only costume that I feel is a little bit off. But don't worry, Cynthia Erivo will still serve. All right, then next. So look, Glinda is looking at what she has wrought. We're gonna see the angry mob in just a moment. But there she is. Oh, she's not enjoying that balcony at the moment. And she, of course, has her blue dress on. And so she's sitting up and she's standing in her penthouse apartment, but at what cost? Ooh, this is very interesting. We'll see how political this movie gets. Because, of course, not only have there been, in movies have angry mobs carried torches, and not only have they done that through history, but even in the last decade or so they've done it, which has really been terrifying. So, again, these people should be ashamed of themselves. I think angry mobs are never a good idea. So let's see what happens next. I love this shot. This was one of the first shots that they released for this whole thing, this whole shebang, in Vanity Fair, I believe, or something, or they tweeted them out. But they had this was one of the very first images, and it is truly stunning. This abandoned when the beginning of their separation, Glinda is going back and revisiting that. She's in her beautiful dress. This looks almost like it's been burned down, certainly abandoned. And you have this ray of light coming in, moonlight or sunlight from above. And it's just one of the most beautiful shots I've ever seen. It's just beautiful. That's one of the things I like so much about Wicked. It feels like the old movie musicals and the big, great, epic, films of the 1930s and 40s, which they don't make anymore. And in many ways, I think that's one of the reasons that it kind of does deserve Best Picture and deserves to at least be a serious contender for Best Picture, because for Jon Chu to bring that style of filmmaking back so effectively is really hard to do. And I wish that it wasn't totally gone. I wish that it still existed. I don't see why we can't have some of these things. I mean, I think it's wonderful for film and storytelling to evolve, but that doesn't mean that we have to abandon the other elements. But so just as Glinda reminisces, so does Elphaba. So amongst her knickknacks, she has that brochure that Glinda first gave her when they got on that train. And, she sees the signature, which I think is really stunning. Now here's the wedding, which looks a lot like the wedding from Crazy Rich Asians, by the way. I think that's interesting that Jon Chu decided to have them so similar from a stylistic perspective. And as I said, there's her wedding dress. She must be meeting up with Elphaba on the balcony after this goes wrong, because this is a daytime wedding. And it looks beautiful, but look at his face. It's so bad. It's so bad. I'm like, turn around, Glinda. I don't know why her best man didn't run up to her and be like, you should be nervous. He looks really like he doesn't want to marry you. And I think clearly he doesn't. So that's pretty amazing. But yeah, so there are butterflies. Everybody's in attendance. And then, but there's Elphaba's castle at night. Oh, it's so beautiful. And here's our mysterious cloaked figure. I know who it is because I cheated, but I'm not going to ruin it for those of you who don't know. So this is really cool, though. I hope they do the oh-ee-oh, or Oreo, as Wreck-It Ralph had them saying. But, the guards marching and saying, the oh-ee-oh. I mean, from the original Wizard of Oz movie, that's one of the coolest things. It just gives you chills. It's so cool. So I'm going to get to my next group of photos. Hold on. All right. There's Dorothy. Dorothy lives. So here's the original 1939 film with Judy Garland. And so far, she's got Toto on a leash this time. I don't know if Toto needs to be on a leash, man. I guess it's more responsible. I don't know. I guess the movie doesn't want to get slammed for not taking good care of Toto. But I'm like, let Toto run free. I love when Toto runs free in the movie. I think it's adorable. Also, how's he going to get into trouble like he does? Whatever. It's fine. I guess, it's not going to ruin the movie for me. Or is it? So there she's making friends with Munchkins, right? She's talking to the Munchkins. Is that Bach there talking to her? It might be. It might very well indeed be. So Dorothy has arrived. Hello, Dorothy. That's going to be really interesting. Then, look what kind of disco party's going on here. As some of you pointed out, and I do wonder if this was intentional, the Wicked for Good trailer has debuted during Pride Month. I think that's wonderful. The LGBTQ community has been, of course, particularly supportive of this film, and many of the people involved with the making of the movie are LGBTQ. So I think that's really cool. Is this Jeff Goldblum's song, Wanda's Attorney? I don't know why Elphaba's dancing to it. It must be quite the song if they decide to for some reason bury the hatchet, although things turn south as we do find out a little bit later. So that looks pretty cool. They seem to even have disco balls come down there, so it looks like quite the private party. So they're dancing it up in here. Now we also have, what song is this? This looks very nice. This reminds me of Encanto, the sister with all the flowers. This reminds me of Encanto. So what is this, the Renaissance song? Oh, it's the new For Good. Okay, so For Good. This could be seen as platonic, it could be seen as romantic. I just clearly think there's a bond here. And sometimes they play Wicked in 3D, and I think this could be a very good sequence in 3D. I'm kind of over 3D right now, though. But yeah, they're sitting on the broom, it looks like, or a version of the broom, which I think is interesting. And but I think that this might be Glinda's magic. So look at this shot as well. That's beautiful. That is really, really nice. That is just stunning. Some of you think it's Glinda's new song. We'll find out. They're keeping you guessing. But it does really look beautiful. Here, this is actually one of the shots from the very opening sequence in the movie, the first movie. But I liked it so much, and I liked the music that came in with the drums, that I'm very excited to see this play out. Then, of course, we see Dorothy here again. There she is. Now she's got the whole crew. The whole group's back together again. And they're talking to the wizard, who is asking specifically for Elphaba's broom. I wonder what's so interesting about the broom, why he feels he wants it. And also, you get this very nice shot of the cowardly lion. I thought that was pretty nice. The CGI looks pretty good there, I think. And he is indeed a coward, but I think that's adorable. Is that Ariana Grande's dog in the actual movie? That is adorable. I hope that's true. That would make me very happy. And I hope she talks about it all the time on the press tour. I hope the dog is on the press tour and we see them interviewed together. So I think that's a great shot. I think that looks really nice. Then Fiyero gets the broom, but turns on the wizard. You can see the wizard's like, he's having a bad day. So he turns on the wizard and he gives the broom back to Elphaba. So again, Cynthia Erivo has such a wonderfully expressive and beautiful face. So that looks great. That's a really nice shot. And then here, darn it, I keep making the same mistake. Hold on. This is the last batch of images. I like that shot a lot. I kind of like them as a couple. I think I think they work. Of all the couplings in the movie, I like this one the best. And I think they have really wonderful chemistry together. Look, they're even wearing matching outfits to a degree now. He's wearing green. I love it. What a couple goals. So they look really great together. I love that. The way his head is like tilted towards her and they're kind of like off to the side, that's a very romantic shot. I don't know if they're going to kiss Garnet Fire. We'll find out. Smoochy, smoochy, make our action figures kiss. All right, now there's the wedding, and it looks like some animals have crashed the wedding. Remember, animals are persona non grata in Oz at this point, but it seems that they are not happy about it, and they really have messed up the wedding. So we'll see how that sequence plays out. And Glinda's not too happy about it. I'm curious to see how this scene plays out, because she's clearly arming the bubble, and she's not too happy, but is she upset or is she just forcing herself to do something? This is the outfit that she wears to go to Munchkinland and tell them that the Wicked Witch is dead. So maybe this is after she just hears the Wicked Witch is dead herself.
and she's dealing with all those emotions. So I'm very curious to see what's happening here. I think she does I think Ariana Grande does deserve an Oscar, but I'm sorry, I don't think she's going to get one. Margot Robbie didn't get one for Barbie, but I think the nomination would hopefully be enough. I'd love it if they both won an Oscar. Dare we dream? So she's so lots of emotions. Now that is also a very romantic shot. I think we all can catch the undertones here. That's a beautiful shot. And by the way, we've been noticing Glinda's hair a lot, but Elphaba's hair there looks incredible. What they've done with, I think, the micro braids is just really, the hair and makeup team did a phenomenal job there. That's just really beautiful. I love that Elphaba has this luxurious hair, but it's natural micro braids. I just think it's just really well done. Okay, then, so she's in the bubble. She's taken off. She's got her armor up, you could almost say. Oh, I like that. That she's like, all right, got it, time to make the donuts. She's got to go to work. Eris says they kiss in the book. Do they? I'll be interested to see if a major studio film does that. I'll be curious to see. That's very interesting. I don't think they kiss in the Broadway show, do they? We'll see what they decide to do. I don't want to give anything away because I know how the ending works out. And the ending is very different than that. So I think they're going to probably stick to, I don't know, they've put a lot in the book in. I'm curious to see what they decide to do. So then this is the best exchange in the trailer. I thought this was just really phenomenal. When Elphaba says, "You're the only friend that I ever had." Now look at Ariana Grande's acting here. Look at the sadness on her face. Because I think, Ariana Grande, I think Glinda, that just hits her it hits her like a ton of yellow bricks. She didn't even realize she was that important to Elphaba. And the fact that Elphaba doesn't have any other friends is just so sad to her. But look at this acting. She just perfectly transitions to trying to make it a lighter moment because that's how Glinda handles moments like this. She tries to, put a joke in there. And she does the little hair toss and she says, "Oh, I've had so many friends." And I thought that was beautiful. But then, of course, as they hold hands, she says, "But only one that mattered." And that was incredible. That was an amazing line for the trailer. That was just beautiful. And by the way, it's hard to compete with a gown that has sparkles. And I just love how sparkly Glinda is. Although, being really super powerful is a pretty nice way to counter that. There's a couple shots before this where Elphaba is creating fire. But I really love this shot when clearly she's won the winged monkeys over to her side, and I love that in her castle she's getting ready to deploy. That is very nice, and her cape looks a lot better here. I like this shot a lot. Then look at her maneuver through the trees, and boy, Cynthia Erivo knows how to work the brim of a hat. That's really cool. The way she's like, "Here I come." I think that looks really great. So she's bobbing and weaving through the trees. Here she is. She gets her hat and her broom, and she's like, "I'm leaving, no matter how good this party is." But this is really a beautiful shot, particularly for Pride Month. I think that's really very nice that they did that. Then here she is. I like this shot because she's so close to the castle. And one of the neat things about the castle is that you can see that she's separated the castle. So that's where she's created the point in the middle where she can fly out, but she's taken a castle and she's stretched it. I think that's really cool. See on the bottom and the top, but it's got a hole in it so that she can go for easy access. I think that's the neatest thing ever. I just think it's just really cool. And I can't wait. I hope she does it just like Elsa made her castle in Frozen, the first Frozen movie. I hope we see Elphaba actually tear this castle apart. And then, one of the coolest shots in the trailer, here she comes. There she is, looking you dead in the eye, with a smile on her, it's like a smile to a degree on her lips, and a smile in her eye. Very proud, as she should be, flying through the sky with her army. It's really a very nice shot. That's right, no fisheye lens here. And I don't know why anybody would use a fisheye lens to film anyone. Clearly, we've all noticed at this point it's a bad idea. So that's great. Oh, this is the Fiero's Castle, Kiamo Co. That's crazy. I love that. I thought you guys were referencing something from anime or something from Japanese culture with that name. Well, I don't want to say anything, but I think it's interesting that that's Fiero's Castle. Oh, they're my favorite couple out of all the couples here. Okay, that's all I'll say. We can't give away too much here. Okay, so let me get back to the poster, and we can do our Q&A. Thank you for joining me for this. And we'll do about a 9-minute Q&A for all your questions about this, okay? So thank you for joining me. I think we had a really nice time talking about this trailer. Oh, Joseph wants to point out that the cape is supposed to look like a twister. I don't see that. I wish it did. I'm seeing mermaid tail. I don't think it looks very good. I like that, but I wish that they had talked about that and someone could have said, I'm not seeing that. We need to redo it. You want me to do a hair toss, Ryan? Oh, I wouldn't dare try to do a hair toss. I don't want to. That's Ariana. I respect Ariana too much. Let's see here. I saw somebody, oh yes, Mika asked me for a box office prediction. Well, the last one ended in the 700 range. I don't really know if Wicked's going to win over any new fans. I think, but it has plenty. It doesn't need any new fans. I think that it's going to end probably somewhere where the first one did. I think it will be in the 700s as well. I'd love it to improve a little bit on that, but it doesn't need to. As long as it matches it. It has to at least match it. It can't be under. Even if it's just like Price is Right rules, $1 over. That's great. Hey, Chris. That's right, Lindsay. It's a twister. Sergio says 1 billion chances for a bill. I'd be really surprised if it made $1 billion. If the last one did make $1 billion, don't think this one would. But we'll see. It has really strong competition. It's got Zootopia 2. It's got Avatar. Disney's hitting it with everything it's got. Let's see here. Rodney says, Grace, I think it has a chance for big awards. I sure hope so. I really do hope it walks away with some major awards, at least for Cynthia Erivo. One major award. I don't think it's going to get picture. I'd like it to. Picture, I'd like it to get director or actress for Cynthia Erivo. I don't want it just to get craft awards and best song. I think that would be disrespectful. Let's see. That's right, a wise MF said. You are a wise MF. That Elphaba summons the broom just like Thor summons Stormbreaker. I said that in my trailer reaction. Let's see here. Let's see. Zay says, do you think this will have a bigger opening? Maybe it will. There's a small chance because it's, but I don't know. I mean, people were so excited for the first one. Let's see. Jesus says, will you have some exciting new outfits when you review the movie? I got to be on the lookout for them. It was a lot of work dressing up for the last one, but I got to keep my streak going. I will have outfits. Rach Talk says, I'd love to see Cynthia get EGOT status. If this is the thing that gives it to her, wouldn't that be wonderful? That would be just so nice. Linzek brought that up as well. Elise, I don't think this is going to do 600. I don't think it's going to drop from the last one. That would be shocking. Joseph points out that perhaps it has gained a little bit in fandom thanks to streaming. I hope that's the case. That would be wonderful if it has. I'd love it to end up in the 800s. Mark Hall says, do we know if the $150 million budget was for both parts? It was for both parts. Jon Chu is a very responsible filmmaker, and he did this whole thing for $150. Hey, Ran. My pleasure. Thank you for joining me as you get up. Cole asks if I read the book. I did not read the book. I've looked into it a little bit, but I really wanted to experience these as a regular movie fan, and so that's how I've been looking into them. I just cheated a little bit on the story. I couldn't help myself.
Jamie says, do they ever confirm whether this will be rated PG or PG-13? I don't think it matters, to be honest with you. I think it's clearly a PG-13 level movie, and I think that's how it's treated. Oh, Brian, should I wear the witch hat? Oh, I didn't wear a witch hat. Maybe I'll do the witch hat. You know, again, I want to be very respectful of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, so I try to wear costumes and outfits that are like adjacent to them. Jacob says you'll be fighting dinosaurs and witches to get to Jonathan Bailey. I like that. Jonathan Bailey's like, yes, please. Come for me, baby. Mr. Magic says the book is way darker. I think they're going to put some of that in there. I mean, they did work some of the book things into the first film, which I think gave it more depth than the Broadway show, which I appreciated. Drew says, we never saw Nessa Rose in this trailer. Her new design is so fierce. That's the sister, right? I like that she was designed to look like her mother and that she had on Elphaba's old dress. Although I bet she's kind of upset to be wearing hand-me-downs to a degree. But I think that, yeah, I'm sure we'll see her in the next trailer. Nathan says, what would the film have to do to improve upon its international box office numbers? I think they just have to try and make it more an event, which they're doing. Elphaba and Glinda will be at Universal Studios theme parks this summer for meet and greets. I think that will help. And also they announced that they're going to be doing a television special that'll air on NBC and Peacock when this movie comes out. That's going to have Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande singing, and also will have lots of exciting surprise guest stars. So I'm sure it'll be Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel will be part of that. I think that that is very clever. And I think if they do things like that, they might be able to push the numbers. Oh, the House of, I can't see your full name. The House of O says that there's a graphic novel based on the book that you can get. You know the way to my heart. You know I like a good graphic novel. I don't know. I think I want to experience the movie. That's right, Oliver. It debuted during Pride Month. And Levi says, big fan, great breakdown. Would you ever go to the theater to see the play after this film? No, I like the film. I like the depth to it. I really like the film. I'm a big fan of the film. To me, The Wizard of Oz is in the film space. I like the 1939 film with Judy Garland, and I like this as like the prequel to it. I really like it. Maurizio, her dress is blue because she switches to blue a little bit. You know, she's getting her Sleeping Beauty on. Make it pink. Make it blue. And it gives me more costume choices, thank goodness. I actually just bought a blue sweater. Maybe I'll try and save it for, well, it's going to be a while till the new trailer comes. But anyway, it's actually that exact color blue. But anyway, at least I think it is. I like that she has different looks. I mean, it makes my life easier in terms of the poster frames. Let's see here. Astronomy says the book is much darker with adult themes. I sense that in the films. I think they're doing that in the films, and I think Jon Chu is very clever. He, you know, like a lot of directors today that are very successful, he is both good creatively and business-wise. Thoughts on the press tour, Milky Way? Oh, let's see what they do. I mean, they've set the bar so high with their first press tour. I'm sure they're feeling the pressure on how could they possibly top that. But I think they just have to be themselves. I mean, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are both meme machines, and when you put them together, they just go into overdrive. Steven says, I wonder if Universal will be able to get a more day-and-date global release this time. Oh, that's right. It took a long time, for instance, for... don't have some spoilers there, Fancy Pants. Yeah, it took a long time, I think, for instance, for Japan to get it. Let's see if they get a better situation this time. Let's see. Oh, it's my pleasure, Andrew. Thank you so much for your kind comment. And I'm glad that you got to see Wicked in London. And I was just in London myself. I'm sure you had a great time on your vacation. The House of Overthinking says adult. Oh, you mean like Fables. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, they're not going to do that here. Max says, So it has some corrections saying they don't kiss. It's not Ariana's dog. And it's Twinkie. It's not Twinkie, but it is Winky Prince. Someone said it was Twinkie. Whatever. We get the idea. Let's see here. You guys are really just shouting at me that the book is very adult. Stop trying to get me to read the book. Look, Pie's like, NC-17, man. I'm like, really? Maybe I should read the book. Let's see here. Ricardo says, should they do a final trailer? They got to do one more trailer. This can't be the only trailer. But I bet they only have to do one more trailer. Hey, Zay. And then Tony says, I think what will really help for Good's box office success will be the marketing. This film thrives off the themes of friendship and feeling loved by someone. Well, yeah, it made me cry when I was at the press screening, and it made the woman next to me cry. We were all crying. It was so beautiful. Although what made me cry wasn't so much the friendship in the first movie, but what really made me cry was when Elphaba finally took flight and when she saw herself as a young girl, the reflection, and she decided to not be that scared little girl anymore and to honor that little girl. That was just real. That's what I think got everybody in my screening. And, you know, of course, Cynthia Erivo singing is incredible. You know, it's interesting. I was watching Going My Way the other day with Bing Crosby, and he was giving someone a singing lesson. And he said it's so important when you sing to sing the emotions in the words. And I thought that was interesting. I really liked that. And I think that Cynthia Erivo is very good at that. Singing, you know, she's particularly good at putting the emotion in the words. Oh, I'm over my time. Let's see here. No spoilers, Brock. And then Billy Malloy says, Cynthia and Ariana are judges on Drag Race All-Stars together this season. That's fantastic. That's really great. They're doing a good job. They know what they're doing. Happy early birthday, Dane. Happy early birthday. I'm going to try and I should be doing a live stream tomorrow, though. All right, everybody. It's very late. For some of you, it's very early. I hope you all have a wonderful time. Thank you so much for joining me to go over this trailer. I had a really fun time going over it with you. And I'll see you very soon. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.